this one here is, everybody knows exactly how I feel about Chinese heaters. I don't have to tell you. That's these fine gems. So what it boiled down to, I made a video about this back in June for Michael on Patreon, and I can't get it over for some reason. But anyway, so we're making a video. But anyway, the problem with the Chinese heaters, now I put in thousands of S-bars and Webasto's, and I never took one apart. I think I took one glow plug out. That is it. And this is Gina's heater, and I've had this thing apart 4 times, Michael says, in 6 months, because they're just a POS. They're a knockoff of an S-bar or a Webasto, and they're a very poor knockoff. So, to get you up to speed on this, if you buy it, now the thing is that you can buy 10 of these for a price of an S-bar or a Webasto, 2000 hot air or hot top or whatever they. Now, when you buy one of these, you buy 2 fuel pumps, 2 glow plugs. It comes with a wrench and everything. So when you do that, when you change the fuel pump and you change the glow plug, the S-bar ones, if you get it off Amazon, the S-bar ones fit it. And they do fit. They do fit. You'll get a kit like this here. Now, the thing about this is you piss around and piss around with this thing, and a fuel pump is $22 off Amazon. And this kit is $18, I think, off Amazon. And it even comes with a wrench. Yeah, I even got a wrench out of it, so that's good. So anyway, it comes with a wrench and a screen and all that stuff. Now, I would buy a Chinese heater. Well, I wouldn't buy one, but if I am going to buy one just to try one out. Buy a Chinese heater, buy a fuel pump, buy a glow plug. And then when they crap out, you have it. Because it will. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. It will. Because, okay, the one on your left is the worn out one. See how it's all eaten away? Okay, and this is the new one. Now this one's been in this heater. I'll show you in a minute. And it's still like new. And they look exactly the same, right? Except for the color of the wires. This is an S-bar one. And this is a Chinese one. This one lasted just over 2 months. So, the problem with this, the biggest problem with the S-bar is, or the parking heaters, is one, the fuel pump is a big issue, and people don't put a fuel filter on it, which is a big issue, and the fuel pump has to be mounted at 15 degrees. Like, when you put the fuel pump in, this has got an arrow there, so the fuel comes through this way. And you have to mount like this. This is what I call a bubble pump. And it's not a fuel pump, it's a bubble pump. And what it does is it'll just, this is the metering and everything for the heater. There's no meter, nozzle, nothing on it. It's just this here. It puts out, I think it's 25 milligrams or something of fuel, very little. And all it does is pulse. And when it does that, it fires. And then it keeps the heat going. So this one here is an S-bar fuel pump. So this one's a good one. And same as that glow plug I just showed you. That's an S-bar one too.
Many of our brothers and sisters who've helped make all of this possible aren't thriving. Visit HeroSoapCompany.com and place your order using coupon code BADGE at checkout. Not only will you receive a discount, but you'll be helping Badge help our vets.
This is the guts of the heater. Now, you got a burning chamber. You got the heat where the fuel goes into it. And this is the fan that blows the air into the cap. Now, you notice this is all sealed. So none of this exhaust or anything, because there's a plate that goes over this, right? There's a big plate that goes over there with a seal. And this goes over it like so and seals it up. So this is one separate system and this is another system. Now when you take the bolts out of there, there's a fan. See, the fan is separate from this fan. They're not the same fan, they're a different fan. And that takes the air in here and puts it through the chamber, and it comes out on the exhaust right there. Now, the biggest problem you're going to have with these is the fuel pump. And you put it into the, like, you go on, just Google it, parking heater codes, and it'll give you all the codes. There's like 10 or 12 of them. And the biggest one is the fuel pump. It'll just quit. The cheap, they're super cheap, like really cheap. I even put one on, the thing quit on me in the same day. So you gotta put the S-Bar one on. And if you buy it from, how you know you got S-Bar one is you Google parking heater, and it'll come back and it'll say glow plug for an S-Bar. It doesn't say it's for a parking heater. It says it's for an S-Bar. Because that's what they use for a template. For the Chinese use that, and it's a very poor copy. And that's what they use, was an S-Bar Webasto. And there's two types, you can tell by the gaskets. Now, the big thing about it is that the fuel pumps are an issue. They are totally an issue, and a glow plug. So you carry a spare, and you got to make. So we're not sure what happened to this one. Now, we keep going on about fuel. Now, this is a fuel tank that comes with the heater, right? You can put on the outside. I'm not really too keen on them, but we're going to plumb Gina's into her bus. Now, this heater crapped out, and look at this tar in here. Well, I have no idea where this came from. I have no idea. But this went through the heater, and it gummed it all up, and I'll show you. Now, the problem with this is on the outside of the bus, and to plumb it into the fuel tank isn't really a big deal. But I'll show you. I'll send you pictures later when I get that done. But this is what happened to the inside of it. Now, whatever that stuff was went through there, and I took this apart to do a video for Michael on June 10th, or June 4th, and it was spotlessly clean. And look at it now. It's just gummed right up beyond, it won't even fire. All it does is smoke. So, I got to clean that out and put all back in there. Now, this isn't rocket science. The only thing on this is the glow plug, which goes in here, the over temp switch. Now, what happens if it gets up hot and turns itself off? It's probably the over temp switch. Now, the over temp switch, the glow plug, the fuel pump, and the ECM you can buy for just around the $50 mark. You can't even buy you can buy glow plugs for a S-Bar now because they're $23. But that's why people buy these, because they're cheap to fix. That's the big thing about it, right? But that's the deal on the Chinese heater. Now, we'll clean this all up, and we'll put it all back together, and it will work just fine. Now, the biggest thing about them is that when you mount, everybody asks about mounting. Well, mounting, you can put them anywhere. You can put them in a car, you can put them in a truck, you can put them in a trailer, you can put them anywhere. The biggest thing is that you have to have the fuel pump close to the fuel tank, because the fuel pump will pull the fuel and it'll push it forever. But it's only got a short distance you can pull it, and it's got to be at 15 degrees. So if you put it in 15 degrees, the fuel pump by the tank, you'll be just fine. The other big problem with it is the positive and negative, which is the brown and the red wire. All the brown wires are ground wires, by the way. You have to put them on a battery. Don't put them onto a fuse box or anything. Put it right to the battery, because they all got fuses anyway. Put it right to the battery, and you won't get no voltage drop. That's the big thing with them too. See, an S-Bar, you don't have to worry about it. These you do. So when you mount it, make sure you put it to the battery. Now, these don't draw as much as an ordinary, like a propane heater in a trailer. They draw a huge, I don't even use mine. They draw tons. This thing runs on about a gallon, not even a gallon, less than a gallon of fuel a night. Less than a gallon a night. So it's very inefficient. That's why people buy them. The only thing is that if you buy one, you got to have a mechanic on speed dial, because it will stop. It's guaranteed. It will stop. There's no doubt about it. So that's why we're putting this video up, just so you get familiarized with it. If you have any problems with it, just Google the code, and it's very self-explanatory. Like, the only things I've seen gone is the glow plug, number 1, fuel pump, number 2, and the overheat switch. And then the next one is the battery grounds, loose or not. If you got a low now, the thing is, you can read the battery and it'll say 12.5 or whatever, 12.6 or 12.8 or whatever. But when that heater's running, read the voltage. Now, if that drops down to less than 10, it'll probably won't fire. So it's got to be a good battery, right? So you just make sure the battery voltage is up. And I hate to say this, and I hope Blind Views doesn't hold me to it, but if you just do a little bit of due diligence and get a spare glow plug and a spare pump and overheat switch. The overheat switch I wouldn't worry too much about. You can get them off Amazon. And make sure the wiring, they're not too bad. They when they work awesome. Like, you can get them 3, 5, 8, whatever you want. Kilowatts, right? They use kilowatts. I don't know what the BTU conversion is. But this one here is a 5, and it keeps Gina's van toasty warm. So, and that was the other thing about it. Like, you get lots of crap on the internet. Like, stay away from the forums, because they'll let you down the wrong way. But they always say you got to run at high speed all the time. Well, that's a crock, because we did that and it didn't. It's still crap. If it's going to crap out, it's going to crap out. And that was running at high speed all the time. How did it plug up? That's my story, right? So there's a lot of myths out there, but I just thought I'd put this up for you to see. You got any questions? If you got any questions, just put them. I'll answer them. You know that. But the big thing is that a lot of people can't afford the S-bars and the Webasos, which I can buy that. But if you want one that you're not going to touch or repair, buy an S-bar or Webaso. You probably will never touch it. Probably never. But you get the knockoff. It's just like anything else. You buy a Chinese knife and you get it. It's not a Bowie knife. It's a Chinese knife. So there's, it's not the same quality. It's not. Is that ever going to be an S-bar? No. Is it ever going to be a Webasto? No. It's going to be a Chinese with Webasto guts in it. That's what it's going to be. It'll never be a Webasto. So I'm just going to leave that with you. I hope you get something out of it. And if you got any questions, just put them down below and I'll answer them. Oh yeah, don't worry. I'll come back every once in a while and slap you guys around, make sure you're still alive. Be perfect.
Badge. Everybody needs one. We love our badge.